What's going on, YouTube? Wavy back. My Lord of the Rings family. It's a new day. It's a big day. We are officially starting the Two Towers Appendices. This has been a long time coming. I know you guys have been thoroughly excited for this movie as well as Return of the King's Appendices, which of course we will be getting to after this one. I don't know how many videos this one has because my original playlist didn't actually include this movie. This movie's appendices, I should say. So had to find it through other means. It looks like there's a lot. I'm not sure if what I see is like only Two Towers or if this is also Return of the King, but regardless, doesn't matter to me. The more the merrier. I'm just happy to be here, happy to learn more, see more, experience and appreciate more, and just enjoy these films in another way alongside you guys. It's, as always, been a blast. You guys know I love doing these, and I appreciate how much it seems like you enjoy them as well. As always, thank you so much just for watching along with me, going on this adventure, all these adventures. This is just, the best. I love doing this. But yeah, I'm not totally sure how many episodes we're going to do today. I think we'll probably do 3 videos here. It's like roughly an hour. There's a 30-minute one, 16, and then 15. So I think that'll hopefully be a good little chunk start. I might throw in, we'll see. I'll put it in the title, obviously. But without any further ado, I hope you guys are ready. Let's go ahead and jump into the start of the Two Towers Appendices.
Release of the movie. Then on the second disc, if you press the play.
First bought the book for me when I was 12.
I see.
Hello.
I was looking at the
Appendices of the Two Towers.
Fellowship of the Ring section.
The Two Towers has definitely been the most difficult of the 3 movies to make.
Really?
The shooting itself was long and arduous. The Battle of Helm's Deep, which was shot. We had to deal with the character of Gollum, who we decided was going to be a CGI character.
Yeah.
And yet it had to be absolutely believable, and so we had to develop new technologies to do that.
Oh my goodness.
We spent so long working on it, I think there were quite a few people that were worried that we weren't going to be able to release it on time. So things got kind of stressful. And you're going to see all that in these, what it really was to make the Two Towers. Now on this disc, there are 5 documentaries which have a running time of just over 3 hours. If you want to watch, in addition to the documentaries, there's over an hour of extra video material and thousands of stills and production design drawings which you can access. For years we've been making these Lord of the Rings films under very tight security. The flip side of that is these DVDs, and finally
I'm so
really
thankful
hope you
for it.
enjoy watching them.
Okay, so I just went back to look, because I know in my intro I had said certain however many videos were going to be in this one. I was looking at the Fellowship of the Ring section. I didn't realize that this was the entirety, the playlist I'm looking at is the entirety of the appendices. I thought it was just Two Towers, so my fault. For this video, it's probably going to be just 2 specific videos, the first 2, because it's like you just said, the next 5 videos in a row are all 30 plus minutes each. It's 35, 20, 40, something like that, So for those videos in specific, I'm looking to just probably have those be specific videos. They might be a little bit shorter than my normal appendices videos. Hopefully that will also mean that I can have them closer together with releases. But yeah. Origins of Middle-earth.
Between Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, the creator of the Chronicles of Narnia, about the fact.
Let me know if you guys want me to.
Frustration.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. This is so random. I've been getting some pretty hefty amount of questions about Narnia. I watched that when I was when they literally came out in 2003, 4, 5, something like that. Let me know if that's something anybody's interested in.
And they both came to this conclusion that in the end, maybe they had to write the books they wanted to read.
Yeah.
Lewis, for example, was an atheist, and Tolkien was a very devout Roman Catholic. Lewis was a big man, he had a booming voice. Tolkien was much slighter. And
They used to meet and sort of have a good drink of beer in the pub.
A love of tobacco and a love of ale and good food, just like hobbits, in fact. But they also shared.
and these were literary gatherings where they would read work in progress from
That's so cool.
feedback and criticism, sometimes quite harsh.
It's how you know you're good friends, if you can have honest, harsh truths. Who else is going to give it to you?
One of the factors which united the group was a shared experience of fighting in the First World War.
Yeah.
People like Lewis are left for dead on the battlefield, or Tolkien, you know.
Left for Dead.
I think there's no question about the dead marshes where all the great battles were fought are definitely taken from his experiences in World War One.
Yeah.
Nobody goes through that experience without having to ask all the questions.
It would change your whole worldview.
What am I fighting for?
Yeah.
Is there a God?
Yeah.
So all these
You
writers
would
have
definitely start questioning a lot of the really heavy stuff.
undergone severe
Getting
trauma
left for
of one
dead,
kind or
seeing
another.
your dead
They have to
friends
write their own.
floating.
So after World War One, medieval literature suddenly seemed to be entirely relevant again. It was actually addressing issues which people had forgotten about.
Yeah.
Well, they were wrong about that. They'd come back in.
History repeats itself.
One of the deep ironies about Tolkien as a writer is that he wasn't a professional writer in the usual sense of the word.
He did about the way that The Lord of the Rings was written, and actually it's not the way you'd have expected at all.
Really?
He wasn't writing for an audience, he was writing very much for himself. And he had no sense of the book as a commercial prospect.
And he ran into trouble. He went back and started writing it all over again.
Really?
Leaving Hobbiton, he didn't know. He was making it up as he went along.
It's so impressive.
To try and salvage anything, he went back and started writing it all over again. So it was like the waves coming up the beach, really.
Yeah.
Each wave got a bit further. They also went back all the way, as it were, to the starting point.
Does that mean we're calling the finished product a tsunami?
The creative process cannot be pinned down in such a simple or meticulous way.
I think the creation of The Lord of the Rings was actually an embarrassment to the people around Tolkien.
Really?
Here was a man who was a learned man in a learned academic institution.
Writing about fantasy little creatures.
But what they were not seeing was the fact that he was reviving that more or less dried up, written in stone material.
C.S. Lewis
Yeah.
I mean, that phrase, it's the best phrase ever used to describe The Lord of the Rings, that it came like lightning out of a clear sky.
At the time that it arrived,
Wow.
it really was one of a kind.
Wow.
Like it around.
I often think what it must have been like to be
I can't think of a better phrasing.
120,000 words aimed at 10 to 12-year-olds, and what he gets is The Lord of the Rings. It's 500,000 words long. It has 100 pages of appendices. It contains innumerable allusions to things we don't know anything about. And it's
100 pages of appendices on the book.
Point out, Tolkien often didn't bother to translate. I could see Sir Stanley thinking, well,
Wow.
why didn't he just do what I told him?
Would a modern publisher conceivably take on this enterprise? Of course they wouldn't. They'd tell him it was not structured like a proper novel, that the beginning of the book is far longer than the end of the book, where the...
That's just the greatness of it. all that should have gone wrong, but didn't.
And it is like nothing so much as a very badly chaired committee.
Certainly be wishing to take a blue pencil to that section of the book.
I'm so curious. I can't wait to read the books. I want to know what's up with the Council of Elrond and why it's so long.
I'll do the fall of Isengard in flashback. You just couldn't miss out a big scene like that. They teach you not to do things like that. But Tolkien did it.
Those people that read the book will know that the book is like divided into two distinct storylines. It's the first half of the book and the second half, and doesn't really intercut.
That's funny.
That's a very difficult way to tell a story, because you are losing whole character groups.
Yeah.
In 200 pages at a time.
It could have been a very dangerous method.
Damn.
It could have lost a great deal of momentum to suddenly fracture it in this sort of way. But in fact, I think it works in Tolkien's favour.
Was a sense of realism. And realism comes from not knowing what's going on and not knowing what to do next.
If you're reading and you want to know what's happened to the other characters,
Yeah.
it really gives you much greater range than you would have.
That makes sense. Yeah. Builds the anticipation for each of the stories.
An entire industry, as if nothing existed before The Lord of the Rings.
It really feels like that. Like, it just feels like the
Because
progenitor for,
Tolkien
like,
conceived
all
The Lord of the
fantasy.
Rings as a single massive.
It's crazy.
The fact is that Tolkien wrote a book that was just too damn big to be published in one volume at the time. In the post-war years, when there was an extraordinary paper shortage and an enormous undertaking for publishers who have published this book.
Yeah.
So much against Tolkien's wishes, it was split into 3.
So that's why. Because of logistics, we got a trilogy. And a paper shortage.
Couldn't have just Lord of the Rings Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. It's too dreary.
The Return of the King was not a title that Tolkien liked at all because
Really?
it told you what happened.
Mm.
He favoured calling it the War of the Ring, but he was overridden by the publishers.
The War of the Ring.
Tolkien never committed to saying exactly which 2 towers, and there are a lot of towers in Middle-earth with an enormous amount of significance.
Mm.
And that is the place where, in the book, Sam and Frodo encounter Shelob.
Oh.
The lair of the Witch King and Minas Tirith.
I love that. So open-ended.
That really the opposing forces could be seen. The power of Saruman and the power of Sauron. The power of Barad-dûr in Mordor.
That's how I interpreted it.
Would be the 2 towers. But it's really up for grabs.
For most of his life was actually to be a professor of Anglo-Saxon, which is the...
Mm-hmm.
But that gave Tolkien a great deal of material, of which Beowulf is the best-known example.
That's such a cool-ass name. Beowulf.
In the Hall of Meduseld, which is actually the same name as Beowulf's own hall.
It's a typical element of Anglo-Saxon culture.
Got yourself a new look, Mr. Howe.
A lot of the people who appear have names which are somehow related to horses.
Really?
Eoch is the Old English word for horse, and it appears as part of the name. So Eomer literally means...
Eowyn, Eomer, Eomer.
Eowyn, his sister,
Theoden.
literally means horse joy.
For him, the name comes first, then the story. That was what was essential to him.
That's cool.
Tolkien had a very special love for trees. He regarded them as the messengers of all nature to us. Great ancient beings in the world who have lived far longer than most of us will ever live.
He described himself as a lifelong defender of trees and said that
Hell yeah.
much to him
Same
as,
here.
for example, animals did to many other people.
I love them both. I just love nature. Except spiders and bugs. Sorry.
I remember talking to someone who attended Lewis's lectures. Down the corridor, you would hear booming out, rum, rum, rum. You know, there in Treebeard is the embodiment of his friend Lewis. This
That's sweet.
Old Man Willow is a twisted and malevolent tree who likes to trap unwary travellers.
Oh. Oh.
Old Man Willow makes a sort of return.
I see.
It's a nice nod back to Old Man
That's
Willow.
cool. I love that. I can't wait to just read the books and then... I feel like whenever I do end up reading them, I'm going to end up taking notes pretty similarly, although albeit probably a lot more detailed in comparison to like how I was with the movies. Obviously, I'll be keeping track of like new names, new places, and then just what sort of like general distinctions that I can make from the two, just to see like where they differentiate. And it's going to be really fun to go back and watch the movies at some point again, like whenever I plan to do that in the future, just to like really get another appreciation as a whole. That's going to be so fun.
Anon methought the wood began to move, and then it turned out to be some guys with leaves in their hats, you know. Got to do that scene right. This time the wood is going to move.
That's funny.
Come, my friends.
I love that concept, though. Ideas you have as a kid, being able to finally translate them into the vision you had as an adult.
The Industrial Revolution, for everything that it stands for, and the fact that you sacrifice the natural world.
Yeah.
Saruman's mind, full of wheels and gears and levers.
A mind of metal.
To carry out breeding experiments. There's a sort of feeling.
Yucky!
That destruction takes place through the forces of nature.
It is very fitting.
Saruman changes from being Saruman the White to the Many-Colored.
Why, from like all the muck and dust and everything?
And he defends it by saying,
I don't know.
break the white light, you see the many colors in it.
So when Saruman says things like, what do you mean real change? You mean actually there's going to be an enormous change, but we're going to pretend it doesn't make any difference?
Yeah.
His genius, perverted though it may be, it's his voice.
A new power is rising.
You can draw parallels very easily between Adolf Hitler and Saruman in the power that they created.
Was not expecting to see Hitler here.
To use other
it's a pretty crazy comparison.
Saruman the Wise to Saruman the Tool of Mordor.
Nothing special is made of this fact.
Yeah.
Their friendship is the most powerful bond in all of the story.
That's my goat, man.
And it is the relationship between an officer in the army and his Batman, the person who, much lower order in society and in rank, looks after the officer.
I'm here to help you. I promised Gandalf that I would.
Yeah.
This relationship was a sacred relationship, characterized by their undying loyalty to the officers whom they served.
That's great for Sam's character to understand where that came from, but you don't necessarily want to cast Frodo in the light of one of those pampered officers.
It wouldn't make him very likable.
Tried not to sort of give the impression that Frodo was in any way his superior.
Yeah.
And it's that affection set against the intervening malevolence of God.
Saved his ass so many times.
Is the tragic hero of the Lord of the Rings.
In a way.
Started as a simple hobbit, and we have seen.
Oh, he was a hobbit. I thought he was just considered river folk, or is that just like? That was just the name of the hobbits that lived where he was.
Tolkien realized that the Hobbit was all wrong. To Gollum and Bilbo in the cave was in fact not what the Lord of the Rings was saying. So he had to rewrite the Riddles in the Dark chapter of the Hobbit.
As a potential danger to Bilbo. He can kill him, he can eat him.
Yeah.
And Bilbo, at the end of that exploit, does not kill Gollum. And because of that, everything else happens.
Yeah, there's just so much that happened from that ripple effect of him listening to Gandalf's words.
And yet we feel compassion for him. We feel pity.
It's not about knowing when to take a life, but when to spare one.
Sauron, who's one of the most important characters, is invisible, at least.
Yeah, literally outside of the prologue.
I can't help thinking this is another of the things.
Which I'm pretty. Was the prologue extended edition? I can't recall.
That to leave Sauron incorporeal was really much more terrifying.
Yeah, just an ever-present entity, nowhere but everywhere.
And this is a good representation for Tolkien of evil.
Yeah, I would agree.
Themes of Lord of the Rings, and they just say, well, it's, the classic good versus evil, and it's kind of not really. I mean, it's so simplistic.
Yeah.
Because Tolkien, he hated war, and he hated.
It's such a complex story, complex morals.
Tolkien is also to the horrors of invasion and enslavement, and then stand up and fight for it, and that is really the theme of the Second World War. I mean,
if you're gonna die, you may as well die fighting.
You have to admit that the Second World War was a war that had to be fought.
Yeah. That man needed to be stopped.
And if you keep on resisting them, maybe things will turn out better than you expect.
Just maybe.
I mean, the whole thing ought to collapse under the weight of all this stuff, but it doesn't. Regardless of all this erudition that led to all these subtleties and...
It's crazy how much it's held up, man.
is a damn good tale.
Yeah. Just an amazing story. Oh, that one, that was so good. That was really fun. This really was more just like an in-depth look into Tolkien and his writing style, the origins of so many of his themes and early ideas. He's such a complex guy, and I love how it seems like there's so many, there were concepts that like his publisher would bring up that just seemed so foreign to him, but like when you look at it from in hindsight, like they really needed each other almost in a way, because I can't even imagine this third book being called War of the Ring. That, to me at least, that just doesn't even like sound like it clicks well. Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring. I mean, it's too, I don't know, just it feels like it's all one word in a way. It just feels weird, but that was great. That was really fun. Let's go ahead and jump into, I guess this is technically the third video. Finding the story.
It was tough. This was the toughest of the 3 stories for me to tell.
Really?
The beginning is a kind of blessing, really, because in a sense the beginning was the curse of the Fellowship of the Ring, and that it follows now 3 different storylines that we need to sort of interweave the stories together.
Gotta bounce in between them all.
Was that he had incurred such great narrative debts.
Funny way to put it.
Pay those debts off was to make things even more complicated for a while.
Yeah.
It was also a really easy decision to not put Shelob in this film, and that is you don't intercut the huge climax of Helm's Deep with the huge climax of the confrontation with Shelob. For both sets of stories of the audience, you just end up with a mishmash.
Yeah.
Kill each other, they cancel each other out.
Makes sense, yeah.
The moment that Frodo and Sam are confronting Shelob is actually happening concurrently with the siege of Minas Tirith. You can actually see Minas Tirith in the distance, and are attacking Minas Tirith, which are the events that happen in Return of the King. So you know, put it in the Two Towers in a way is not even accurate to what Tolkien wrote.
That's so interesting.
Journey to where? To what? That is why Faramir had to become an obstacle. Why he takes them to Osgiliath.
I see.
The script had been written, so that was the Faramir that I knew. Then I read the book and I saw that there was a major difference, but gave their reasons as to why the character they thought should go along a different journey.
I would have liked to hear that first interaction.
Then offers them a cup of tea and says, well, I'll do anything to help you. You come across a character who says, I would not pick this thing up if it lay by the wayside. I mean, you've just stripped the ring of all power.
I like that.
Faramir doesn't change. Essentially, he's the same the first time you meet him as to the last time you see him in the story.
Really?
This character does go on a journey, and a very believable journey as well.
Yeah. That's an interesting difference.
To show his quality.
Yeah.
And after going through this journey, give up the ring.
Captain Faramir, you've shown your quality, sir. The very highest.
Now that's a journey, that's a story, that's...
I think that there'll be a greater understanding as to why the changes came about.
Can't wait to read and contrast.
Is the speech of Gandalf's when he's talking about Arwen and she's lying ill, and we've taken that passage and we gave it to Wormtongue.
Who knows what you've spoken to?
This was supposed to be Gandalf?
We wanted a scene where we show how utterly perceptive Wormtongue is. Probably make it all right for her. Typical stalker, really.
Yeah.
I think Professor Tolkien would have been... that would have upset him. To me, it's not that Gandalf says it.
That's interesting.
Someone says it about her.
Why was Gandalf the original one to say it?
Where I think some people may recognise some of Tom's lines.
That's so cool.
The defence of Rorke's Drift, which was where 100 British soldiers fought against 4,000 Zulus.
Jeez.
And I always wanted Helm's Deep to follow that basic pattern, which is establishing how the odds are so badly stacked against them.
Yeah. Getting pinned in by thousands upon thousands.
Grim, dark, despairing, tough, you know, you just drive.
Absolutely loved Helm's Deep, man. Oh my goodness. I want to rewatch it. Again.
And I just thought it was somehow kind of a romantic notion. The elves would give one last piece of assistance to the men before they leave.
And he was
I loved that scene so much.
Right, because and every time those elves turn up, they cheer.
And it's significant that when Haldir and the others could all leave, that they stay out of devotion.
Outnumbered army is just supplemented by another
young
small
kids.
Army. And originally we thought that's a great opportunity for Arwen to reappear and to have another connection.
Really?
We had a romance where the two characters, Aragorn and Arwen, weren't, you know, they were in two completely different places in Middle-earth. So how on earth can you keep a romantic story going when you can't actually have the two people connecting?
It is an interesting obstacle.
You know, you try pitching the idea of a psychic connection between two lovers and they'll just tell you, get out of there, which, you know, I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it does sound just like a corny premise.
Fan reaction to that. There was a rumor on the net that went out immediately that was the direction the movie was going to go. There were a lot of objections to that thought.
People don't think that we ever look at this stuff, and I once made the mistake of going and reading some of the stuff, and I cried so hard because they were calling me like Liv Tyler, Xena Warrior.
And there's certainly elements of truth in what happened on the internet, largely springing from the two script versions
kind of
we
funny.
had. That Helm's Deep stuff survived for a while in the New Line version. It survived long enough for Liv Tyler to come to New Zealand and be trained in sword fighting.
Damn.
Horseback riding, working out with a trainer. There was an enormous emphasis for me on this physical stuff.
And as we're shooting Helm's Deep, a decision was made, look, you know what? Actually, this isn't working. We need to change this.
I think the filmmakers trying to be creative and think of a way of including her more, but I think they found better ways to do that.
I definitely think that what they ended up going with her was the better option.
One concerning Arwen and Aragorn was the most important one to him.
She's a fighter in her own right, but the physicality aspect just doesn't really fit her, you know? At least to me.
So it wasn't until the second half of shooting when we really started to change everything, and I mean, I was so into it and so liberated and happy. I was skipping around this.
That's cute.
You don't have to put a sword in her hands to make her strong.
That's what I'm saying.
Filled with so much hope and belief, and that is strong enough.
Devising a way in which we could present flashbacks instead of forcing them together in terms of the progression of the Two Towers storyline, and we'd be able to see them at Rivendell together.
I remember when those were happening, I was like confused for a bit. I was like, is this happening right now?
When you see it now, you think to yourself, how could we have ever contemplated anything different? But that's the process of movie making.
I loved the direction they went with her, truly.
We had the disadvantage of not having anybody dying in this film, which sounds like a thing to say, but you know, Boromir's death at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring gave us a powerful climactic moment.
Yeah, it was a powerful send-off.
And so we used what we did have in this movie, which was a huge action climax.
Helm's Deep, but you also wanted to have something else resonate with Frodo and Sam.
That scene, man. Chills.
The obstacle of Faramir, it becomes dangerous to our mission and cannot see the thing closest to him, which is Sam. To a moment of Sam having to break Frodo.
Yeah.
Don't you know your Sam? That opportunity to stand up and start
Oh my goodness. That's a 2000 style.
I wonder if we'll ever be put into songs or tales. What?
The greatest ever told.
Plus, we knew that this was an opportunity, although we discovered it quite late. At the beginning, there was no voiceover, by the way. He was just standing at the window.
Holding on to something.
The funny thing was, we wrote ourselves to that point. And then quite naturally, when you have a line like that, you have Frodo's line.
What are we holding on to, Sam?
Fran and I had written ourselves to a standstill. We both looked at each other. What are they holding on to? What the hell is all this about? Because conceptually, we were asking the audience to hold on. This is what the second film was about, this ending of the...
That's so funny.
You know, it's one of those lines that it's execution dependent, a writer would say.
So it was corny, you know?
And that is that there is some good in this world, Mr. Frodo. And she said, but we've got to say it.
And it's worth fighting for.
Such a amazingly executed line.
Yeah, it's always the tricky thing with novels, changing things and shifting things and having a different perspective.
Yeah, rewriting where you have to.
One of the bizarre things that he would have objected to, where other people who hold themselves as sort of like the guardians of this literature have completely accepted it. And this is one group of fans' version. We all love these books. We're all fans of these books in this world. Attempt to bring it to life.
And cut.
That was so cool. That was awesome. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. It's absolutely... I wanted to go back. It's so funny to me that just trying to imagine a version of Arwen that just turns into some warrior, you know? Like, I'm not saying that it necessarily couldn't have been a good thing. I think that if that is the route that they went, that they would have executed it in a way that I'm sure still felt natural for the most part, at least to non-book readers. But given who she, like what her character is in the story, to me, it just, that kind of thing just wouldn't have really, she wouldn't have like gelled well to me. But besides the point, this was so fun, getting to hear about Faramir more, getting to hear about Arwen more, just getting even more insights with Tolkien, with Philippa and Fran. I'm just full of appreciation and admiration for these movies. I'm so excited to be jumping into this second film. I hope you guys are too. I can't wait to talk about this more with you guys later on. But with all that being said, feel free to leave a like. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this episode. What else you want me to check out here on this channel, if there's anything new. And subscribe if you're new. It's totally free. You can always take it back later if you change your mind. But I would love it if you stuck around. Until next time, team, I will see you later.